Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So let's start the topic for today's video. Today's session will be plateau. Okay, and in the last class I have discussed with you all was the mountain, which is classifications and examples. So the topics which will be covered in this video is the definition of plateau, its features or characteristics, okay, and not to forget classifications along with few examples. So these are the topics which I am going to cover. So the first thing that is the definition of plateau. Now, plateau in a very simple term, if we have to define, then it is an elevated surface with flat top. Very simple, isn't it? It's an elevated surface with flat top. Yes. So now, if we see a cross section of a plateau, it will look like this: an elevated space with a steep slope. Okay. Now let us discuss the few features of the plateau. Now here, if you see, as in the diagram I have already shown, that it is an elevated surface with a flat top, but the tops will be covering an extensive area. Okay, not like the block mountain. In block mountain also we have a flat top, but the area coverage will be very less. Now, as I mentioned, the slopes are quite steep, steeper than the mountains, also abruptly dropping. Okay, and the another one is the altitude of the plateaus. Now plateaus are generally lower than the mountains, so the range of heights of the or the altitude of the plateaus is 300 to 1000 meter, but there are few plateaus in the world which is much more taller than the mountains also. For example, Tibetan Plateau. Okay, the height of the Tibetan Plateau is around 6000 meters, and it is also known as the roof of the world. And the plateau, if you see, these are the few yes, of course, the features or the characteristics of plateau. And even the plateau is also referred as the table land also. Okay, if you see the diagram of the cross section also, if you see, then it looks like a table with a flat top, isn't it? So this is also often referred as table land. Now we will be moving on to the classification of plateaus. Now, plateaus are usually classified under three different heads: tectonic plateau, after that we have is the volcanic plateaus, and dissected plateaus. These are the three variants or the categories of plateaus. Now, the tectonic plateaus are also further classified into many smaller groups, okay, or many smaller categories, subdivision also we can say. Okay, so there that is the Intermountain Plateau. Next we have is the Continental Plateau, and the third one is the Piedmont Plateau. Yes, so the tectonic plateaus are also classified into this further subdivisions. Now let us see how those let us see the the different types of plateau individually. Let us observe those plateaus. The first one is the Intermountain Plateau. So before we discuss that, let us see what is tectonic plateaus or how it is formed. So the tectonic plateaus, as the name suggests, it is generally formed due to the movement of the tectonic plates, isn't it? So the plates, when they converge with each other, or when there is a divergent movement of the plateaus or the plates, okay, it will lead to the formation of an elevated surface, okay, but not a conical in shape, but a flat top. Okay, so those kinds of plateaus are known as tectonic plateaus. Now the Intermountain Plateau, as the name suggests over here, intermountain means the plateaus which is in between the mountains or surrounded by the mountains. So those kinds of plateaus are known as Intermountain Plateau, which is surrounded by the mountains. Next we have is the Continental Plateau. Now Continental Plateau, as the name suggests over here again, okay, a vast stretch of landmass, okay, which has been uplifted, okay, by the again the tectonic movements, but over here it will be an isolated plateau surrounded by the sea. Sometimes again not the sea, even it is present or it is surrounded by the plains also. Okay, a vast stretch of plain is present, but in the mid of the plain you can find a tableland structure. Now this kind of plateaus is also often referred as the continental plateau. So the next plateau is the Piedmont Plateau. Now the meaning of Pid, okay, the literal meaning of the Pid, if we see, then it is end, okay, and mont means mountain. So at the end of the mountain, if we find a tableland structure, okay, then it is termed as Piedmont Plateau. Usually the sea will start, or the plain surface can also start from there. Okay, so the end, the mountain ends. If a plateau is there, then we term it as Piedmont Plateau at the end of the mountain. Okay, now the Piedmont Plateau is also termed as Plateau of Denudation. Denudation means erosion and weathering. When it occurs simultaneously, we call it as denudation. Okay, so this plateau might have formed due to the continuous erosion of the highland surface. Okay, so it could be a mountain present over there or the foothills of the mountains. Okay, but due to the it is subjected to high amount of denudation, it may have reduced in height and has formed a tableland structure. So this is known as Piedmont Plateau. Okay, so this were the different types of tectonic plateaus. Now let's see the example of Intermountain Plateau. The Tibetan Plateau is an example of Intermountain Plateau. Continental Plateau, okay, like South India, the Plateau of South India is an Continental Plateau. Okay, the Plateau of Brazil is also an example of Continental Plateau. Okay, now the example of Piedmont Plateau, various examples we can find, like in the Appalachian Mountains in US. Okay, at the end of Appalachians we have several Piedmont Plateaus. Okay, so there are many other examples like Plateau of Antolia in Argentina. Okay, Plateau of Malwa in India belongs to this category. Next we have is the Volcanic Plateaus. Okay, this is also termed as lava plateau. Another name is also given to the volcanic plateau, that is known as the Plateau of Accumulation. Like we have the mountain of accumulation, isn't it? So we have a plateau of accumulation because it has been formed from the solidification or the accumulation of lava, isn't it, or the volcanic materials. Okay, so that's why it is termed as plateau of accumulation. Now let us see how those plateaus are formed. Okay, now let us assume that there is a deep crack which is connected to the magma chamber inside the earth's surface, and when the volcanic eruption, due to the pressure which is present inside, the volcanic eruption will take place. Okay, so along with that, the lava, the magma will come outside, and it will flow, or it will flow to the surrounded areas. And what happens over there is, like, it will comes in contact with the cool atmosphere, isn't it? It will cool down and it will solidify, so it will lead to the formation of a sheet of lava present over there. So when the next volcanic eruption will occur, another sheet of lava will be deposited over there. So over the years, due to the continuous volcanic eruption, okay, the this tableland structure will takes place. Okay, so the plateau will formed over there. So it also depends upon the sometimes it led to the formation of mountain, and sometimes it led to the formation of plateau, isn't it? So it depends upon the fluidity of lava, and different other structures are also there. So that we'll discuss further in the few other chapters. Okay, in the future we'll discuss in other chapters. So generally the height also ranges from the 1000 to 2000 meters of the volcanic plateau. And the examples of the volcanic plateau is the Plateau of Maharashtra, the Deccan Trap area. Next we have is the Dissected Plateaus. Now Dissected Plateaus, as the name suggests over here, the meaning of the dissection, okay, or the dissected means the cutting off, okay, or it divided from the main structure. Okay, it gets divided or cut off from the main structure, then it is known as dissected, isn't it? So the thing is that now the plateaus has formed. It has formed due to the tectonic movements, or it has formed due to the volcanic deposits and all, isn't it? The plateau has already formed. Now after the formation of the plateau, what happens is exogenic forces will start acting on it. Okay, now those plateaus has been formed from the endogenic forces. Now after the formation, the forces which is present outside the earth's surface, like the climatic agents, they are known as exogenic forces, will start acting on it. isn't it? So like wind, rain, snow, those are the climatic agents. So let's say there the plateau has formed, okay, due to the tectonic movements. Okay, now the rainfall will occur, isn't it? And with that rainfall, the streams or the rivers will originate, the rivers will start flowing, is it? Now along with the flow of the water, what will happen is the valley will also be created, isn't it? Erosion will takes place. So over the years, due to the continuous rainfall, the like the path, in the path of the river, the valley will be formed. Now again, due to the over the years, as I said, isn't it, due to the continuous erosion, the valley, okay, the valley will become bigger, isn't it? Due to the erosion, the vertical cutting or the side cutting of the river valleys will start taking place. Okay, so at a point of time, what will happen is the mainland plateau which was there, it will get divided into several smaller plateaus. Okay, so the thing is that here the smaller plateau has been dissected or cut off from the main plateau, so this is called as dissected plateaus. Okay students, so this were the various types of plateaus. Okay, so in this video, as you can see, we have covered the definition of plateau, features of the plateau, classification of plateaus with the various examples. So I hope this video was helpful